Hello, sisters. Welcome to another training today. And this week, we're going to talk about something that pertains to our health because without a healthy marriage, everything can struggle. I really believe that Satan's biggest goal in this world is to attack the family unit. If he can attack the family unit, everything else is going to fall apart. So if you're not married yet, I encourage you to watch this challenge anyway, watch this video anyway, because they're principles that you can take into your future marriage. And if marriage has been messy for you in the past, like everyone, don't feel shamed, don't feel guilty. We just have to try to walk forward in the way that God has for us from today moving forward. And maybe this is your second marriage. And I just want to tell you, God is a God of grace and redemption, and He loves you no matter the past. So I want you guys to let go of any shame or guilt that comes from previous marriage or your current marriage and just focus on this challenge that I'm about to give you. Okay. I know for myself and I in my own marriage, myself and my husband, we have been married for 9 years now. And last year 8, was our hardest year of marriage. Adjusting to a new baby. Before we had 7 years without kids, so you get kind of set in your ways. And then it was really hard last year, and I had to really start looking at God's word and what does it say about marriage, because we can't control our husbands, right? We can't control what they do. We can't control how they act. The only thing we can control is our response and how we are going to act towards them. And God's word is very clear on how to run a marriage. And we actually got these books. It's 7 Days to a Stronger Marriage by Dave and Ashley Willis. This is the version for the wife. There is a husband's version as well. My husband actually got these for us when we were struggling. And I have opened it and attempted it 3 times. This is my 3rd time. And I thought I would challenge you guys with it as well, because I think it will help me to know that y'all are doing it with me. Because here's the deal. I have struggled to get past day 1. It's a 7-day challenge, and I have struggled to get past day 1 because as humans, we're fleshly, right? My sin gets in the way in my marriage every single day. And I think a big part of that is just taking each other for granted, getting used to the day in and day out. And so it's really challenging, and I want to encourage you guys to try this challenge with me, okay? So go ahead and print out your worksheet if you have not already. It's attached here in the training. But our memory verse for the week is Proverbs 31:10. It says, "An excellent wife who can find? She is far more precious than jewels." We all want to be excellent wives, right? We all want to have an excellent marriage. But the reality is oftentimes we just don't measure up, or we just seem to fail, or our husband is maybe not measuring up, or whatever it may be. But in Proverbs 31, God has a very specific way that we should be as wives. And so I encourage you to go back and read the entire thing of Proverbs 31. But I just want to share with you some of the things that I am working on through this challenge, and encourage you guys to do it with me, okay? So we have rules for our challenge. I'm going to start with the rules. Now, here's what you have to try to do this entire week, okay? Are you ready? It's going to be a little difficult, probably, especially if your marriage is in a rough patch. When you're in a rough patch, you seem to just kind of like attack each other, right? With words. And so rule number 1 is to say nothing negative to or about your husband. This is why I keep failing on day 1, because whether I realize it or not, oftentimes I will say something negative to him and not even realize. Like, it's just kind of becomes natural. Like, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you do that? Nagging and husbands, that can be something that can really break them down. And on the days that maybe I don't say something negative to him, I have found that I may be venting to my friend about him and saying negative things to her. So the rule is to say nothing negative to or about him, okay? So rule number 1. The second one is make a date night this week without children. Go out and do something. You may not be able to go out, get a picnic, go outside, do whatever you can. But do something without your children. And I know if you're in that season of motherhood in marriage, like with little kids, sometimes you can feel guilty, right? Leaving your kids with someone. But I promise you, there is no better thing that you can do than show your children what a good marriage looks like and taking time to invest in that. Because one day your children are going to grow up and they're going to be gone. And it's going to be you and your husband. And you have to be able to teach them what a good marriage looks like. So make one weekly date night without children. Rule number 3, be available to him. I have found so many times my husband will say, hey, can you run to the license branch? Or can you do this? And I'm like, oh, I just can't. I got too much going on. When really, next to God, our husband should be our second priority. Now, obviously, we all have things we have to do, right? So we can't just put the world on hold. But try to make room to be available for him this week. Try to give yourself 30 minutes of uninterrupted time every day towards your husband. So 30 minutes isn't that much out of a 24-hour day. Maybe it's 30 minutes at night before the kids go to bed, or once the kids go to bed. It may just be watching Netflix together. It may be having a conversation, maybe at dinner time. But give your husband at least 30 minutes of your time. Become available to him. The next rule is to initiate physical intimacy at least 3 times this week. And you may be thinking 3 times, when you're in a rough patch, the last thing you often want to do is that. But listen, this is how men get their emotional fix. Okay. We women, we love to be loved, held hands, or whatever it may be. Men, sex is their number one thing. Okay. That's how they feel loved by us. And if we don't provide it, they're going to look elsewhere. Okay. So God talks about sex in marriage a lot. So this week, you're going to initiate it 3 times. Okay. Listen, I'm pregnant and it is not always what I'm feeling. But if your husband's feeling it, you need to be that for him. That is what God calls us to do. Our bodies become each other's. Okay. So make that a priority this week. See if it doesn't change some things. And then the last rule is to pray for your husband daily. Okay. If you will allow it, pray with him, but be intentional about praying for him daily. I used to be so good at this, and then life, right, just happens and you just stop making it a priority. So pray for his career, pray for his walk with the Lord, pray for his fatherhood, pray for your husband every single day. So on your worksheet, it has all those rules listed. Those are the rules for the week. And I want you guys to comment in the Soul Sisters. Let me know how you do. Let me know if you make it past 1 day. Let me know if you make it to 7 days of doing these things. Because Proverbs 31 is really clear about how we can become better wives. And even though we can't control our husbands, we can control ourselves. So there are a couple more things. Those are the rules, but I just want to give you guys some little tidbits from Proverbs 31 that God tells us to do. And first of all, it's to give him respect, because our words have the power to either build our husbands up to the king of the world or tear him completely down. So give him respect, give him kind words. And then Proverbs 31 talks about providing a home of peace and joy. When our husbands come home, and you may be a working mom as well, so it may be a little more difficult, but it should be our priority to make our homes peaceful and joyful in a life-giving environment so that they want to come home to us. Strive to make physical intimacy a priority even when you don't feel like it. Proverbs 31, the Bible in general talks about that. Work to look your best for your husband by taking care of your body. This doesn't mean you have to have the perfect makeup and be stick skinny. It just means we strive to take care of ourselves, because men are visual creatures, and it's important to take care of ourselves so that we can better take care of them. So strive to do that. Strive to get your exercise in, to be healthy, to be cleanly. And then last thing is just to be his friend. Creating a healthy friendship. Think back to when you were dating, when you used to call each other with all your details and, be excited to spend time with each other. Really strive to create a healthy friendship again. That can get lost in the midst of the busyness of life. You forget to just be friends. So that's my challenge for all of us this week. I know marriage is something that most of us maybe are struggling with right now or have in the past. So it's an important part of our health. Without a healthy marriage, everything else is going to struggle. Okay. So I want to challenge you guys this week to do that. Print out your worksheet, get that book if you want to, 7 Days to a Stronger Marriage, and try the entire challenge. Anyway, it's so important to God. A healthy home life and a healthy family unit is so important to God and so important to Satan to try to crush it. So he's going to do everything he can, and be prepared this week as you start to take this challenge for him to come at you and try to just get these little thoughts in your head like, I don't need to be with him, or he's just not meant for me, or whatever it may be. He's never going to make me happy. Satan's going to try even harder when you attempt something like this to get in your head. Okay, so fight the enemy, pray daily, and strive to be the best wife that you can be, even when you feel like your husband doesn't deserve it. It will make a difference in our lives. And even if it doesn't make a difference to our husband, it'll make a difference in our own minds, knowing that we do everything we can that God calls us to be the best wife that we can be. So I hope that this challenges you. I hope that you will step up to the challenge, and let's work on making strong families again. Okay, strong, healthy families. And that starts with the marriage unit. Have a great day, and I will see you guys in our next training.